And today we're actually two dogs that will send you to dog backwards. I'm a firm believer in no dog can beat me, none. Now there was a point in time where I really stood on that. I say that now on a shaky foundation after getting bit by my partner's Doberman, but I still stand on it. Make sure y'all pull up to the Twitch. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday about 5 or 6 p.m. man. Let it.
These are the dogs that would take the leash off and walk you. Because a lot of y'all have gotten way too confident. I've said it before, but one way to see how a guy's mind works is to ask him, what's the biggest animal you could beat in a fight? And if you want to see how highly he thinks of himself, ask him, what's the biggest dog he could take down? Or if there's even one alive that he couldn't. TikTok has taught me a majority of y'all are KOing anything canine. Allegedly. Now,
any canine, and especially anyone on this list for sure. This is easy buckets.
In their defense, there's over 350 breeds of dogs and the average man is bodying most of them. Dogs are built for friendship, some quite literally, and they're descended from a pack hunter who really isn't about the one-on-ones. Plus, dogs have one real way of delivering damage, and unless they have the size to make up for it,
bite. That's it. You only know how to bite. You don't even really scratch like that. The scratch is an accident. Bite, that's it. You feel me? Now the bite force is strong. It's strong, but I heard you could put your thumb in a dog's rectum and it all clears all of that up. Now I don't know how true that is. Maybe he'll debunk that in this video, but that's what I heard.
Most dogs can't go band for band with the average man. The thing about size.
Great Dane not beating me.
Some canines are big enough to take you off the registry. Once dogs hit that 140 to 150 pound range, they go from a loud inconvenience to something whose free will could potentially put you in a dirt motel. Bigger.
Was that real? Was this real? Is this real? Shit.
You in a dirt motel. Bigger than that, and you got the kind of dog where every breath you take is by his blessing. Real quick, this isn't to demonize any breed or inspire you to test your luck against your dog. And also, don't take this too seriously. I know Fantasy Fight Club loves hills to die on. But first we got the...
Okay, I've heard of this dog.
The Kangle Shepherd is a Turkish Fido flex bred as a livestock guardian dog against jackals, wolves, and bears. Males on average get from 110 to 150 pounds, but ask around. Someone will tell you about their 180 pound attitude adjustment. An important distinction is that these aren't herding dogs. They're guarding dogs. The canine insurance policy pretty much are part of the herd, and any predators that flock around very quickly find out. Kangles will defend theirs in any situation, and while the cellmate of Cerberus prefers intimidation, they'll catch a clean body if it...
Okay, this is, I'm looking at this, and like, I just don't know where, this is the thing, this is my logic behind any dog fight, right? Dogs is big as shit. Like he said, they got one thing. If a dog get my arm, he yanking the fuck out my arm, you know? But also, I'm still a man at the end of the day. I'm 200 something. So he yanking my shit. I'm going eyes, you know what I'm saying? I'm not playing fair with the dog. Dogs get hurt too. We got to remember that. You feel me? If I'm poking dog eyes, it's emotion. Now I'll say this. Punching a dog, I don't, maybe in the note, like you got to go vital places. Like, I don't know if y'all ever had to discipline a dog, and maybe I don't know if that's your swag, but you know, maybe slap the dog on the butt or hit a dog and you hit the dog and your hand started hurting. You was like, damn. So smacking and dogs ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's, you got to get dirty, kicking in jaws and poking eyes and stuff. And that's what I think. I think if I poke the dog's eyes, that's my biggest one. A dog is like, and it's gonna run and get scared. You feel me? You feel me? Any area the dog is at, if I lock in real quick, I can poke a dog's eyes.
If it gets there. The catch is, since Kangles are built to defend the defenseless, they're unironically really good with children. But with a temper more trigger happy than the state of Texas, nothing steps to a member of a Kangle's herd without getting read in an obituary. Apparently, some Kangles have snapped at their owners for getting too close to their own sheep. With Kangles having the strongest bite of any dog at an alleged 743 pounds per square inch, a snap from a helicoptering horsehound hits much different. They're so protective, they even protect some of the predators they were hired against.
That shit might actually bite your arm off.
In Namibia, ranchers and cheetahs share an area code, and in a world where a dead cow can set your entire family back, many cheetahs become chalk outlines in the name of asset protection. But having Kangles and Anatolians on site, which as far as I understand are Americanized Kangles, the cheetahs get run off by canine conflict resolution before the ranchers have to reach for a permanent solution.
Whoa.
The Kangle option actually reduced cheetah trappings and killings by 80%, and in some places they're
80%. Cheetahs is fast as hell. You gotta really be about your motherfucking sheep to be this guy that ran out to go get this guy right here that ran out here and was ready to whack the cheetah. That's some scary shit. That I'm definitely not even about that. Like, you can have my sheep.
providing the same deterrent service to wolves. So all in all, they're still a good dog, just not for everyone. And not just because they need space, experience, and most importantly, a purpose. They need discipline, because gentle parenting means Turkish Tank rips your arm out of the socket the first time he sees a squirrel. This fluffy boulder would send you back to the mountains they spawned from. Forged in the mountains of Caucasus, the Caucasian Shepherd is also called the Russian bear dog, even though they're not Russian, and you're liable for a lecture if you call them that in front of the wrong person. They also weren't bred to hunt bears. They're also livestock life insurance. It's just that calorie blocking a bear might just come with a job description.
So you telling me that so they can get with bears? Fuck no. The bears eating this nigga.
The blow-dry Tasmanian devil comes in two forms, the longer coated mountain type and the shorter coated steppe version. The mountain brand are the big boys, and usually the ones that can get to over 200 pounds.
Jesus Christ, look how big this dog is.
And I promise you, you are not choking out a Wolverine on creatine with war experience. The dog, also called the ovcharka, was used in World War II as Soviet Union guards that would gatekeep Soviet gulags. So they might not send you there, but they'll keep you in its custody. So even though they didn't originate in Russia, before the Soviet Union developed an atomic bomb, they mobilized a furry nuke in the form of Fido. Also, a good amount would patrol the Berlin Wall, and after the wall came down and the dogs were adopted out, many of the veterans would suddenly remember their orders whenever near the past tense wall and would robotically walk in obedience to a wall that wasn't there. So yeah, folks messed around and created an absolute unit of a sleeper agent, and it isn't until you have about 200 pounds of dog resisting your will that you realize what the amounts of Caucasus were cooking. There's a reason this
A 200-pound dog is crazy. I didn't know that was happening. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know that we was doing 200-pound dogs. I have to be honest. I'm kind of like, I'm in shock right now. I haven't heard of that. I didn't know dogs could exceed that, unless they were just fat as hell. But a 200-pound and still agile and stuff, I didn't know that.
Domesticated bear is used in Russian prisons. Imagine packs of ovcharkas roaming the city of Berlin at the expense of anyone unlucky enough to run into them. Well, you don't need imagination for one of the dogs.
This is why, when y'all finally get a house or like a big house or something, and you have dogs, you got those outside dogs. Because I feel like there's outside dogs and inside dogs. I need like 2 of these. I want 2 big ass cane Corsos, bro. Is it cane? Well, I don't know how. I'm saying cane Corso. I need 2 big ass cane Corsos, bro. I want 2 so bad. You know what I'm saying? I want them. They still could be in the house and stuff, but maybe the house will have to be too big. Nah, I need some outside living dogs, bro. My grandfather had a dog that had a name. His name was Snickers, and he was a small little small inside house dog. And then he had a dog outside in his backyard that he built like his shed for. He had AC for it, water, all of that. Big ass dog in the back that never came in the house. Never. I don't even know if he ever knew what inside ever looked like, but he was an outside dog. And I used to ask him what the dog's name was, and he was like, "It doesn't have a name. It's a dog." You feel me? That dog was purely for protection and alerting. Old school old man. Shout out Boldman Alexander. Rest in peace to you. Feel me? So he's like, he lived on, very old ways. And he had an outside dog that didn't have a name. It's for protection.
Next, it's a reality.
Hey.
This is honestly the first place my mind went after hearing about the man versus dog debate. You tell him to sit, he looks at you like this. What is your next move? Daikujo decides to climb on your couch where he knows he's not allowed. What is your vehicle of retribution? I pray it's not a rolled up newspaper. He's gonna make you a small section of the next one.
This is my other thing. If a dog too big that I'm like, damn, this dog is dangerous, and I'm telling him get off the couch, get off the bed, and he's not listening now, I'm gonna call the vet on that nigga. Like I'm gonna call not the vet. I'm gonna call the pound. The pound's gonna have to come get this nigga, bro. I don't want him no more. He's disobeying my shit. Nah. You feel me? All the love we share, nigga, clearly, you don't give a fuck. Hey, go ahead, come take this nigga. You can have him. real shit, because I don't want to have to shoot. I don't want to have to shoot my dog in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Latin is like a linguistic black light that tells the full story of a word, and when you shine it on Cane Corso, canis is dog, and Corso or cohors refers to guard, specifically a military guard dog. Corsos, or actually Corsi, are kind of the guard dog, and they're descended from ancient Roman war dogs known as Canis pugnax. For Corsi, the Italian Mastiff would attack enemy lines in battle with buckets of flaming, scalding hot oil strapped to their backs. Fun fact, in my culture, cani is the name of a spice you put on dishes, and to me it's all good, but to someone who's never had it before or doesn't know how to handle it, it can be an overseasoned assault on the senses. Same story with the uber black of dogs. Handle them wrong and they're a one-way trip straight to Valhalla. And with many over 120 pounds, I do believe every conscious breath you take is with their consent. Again, they're guard dogs that protect their pack, and within it, they're docile family dogs that you can trust with the kids. But the same dog that can tear a wild boar in half like a phone book would absolutely turn you into coffin fodder in a fight. This might be the most underrated dog out here. First time I saw one, I genuinely thought it was a customized cane, and while they look similar at up to and often over 140 pounds, the Presa Canario somehow tankier than the canine Italian stallion. Don't get it twisted, the Spanish Mastiff off the Canary Islands is 404ing most men. They just might have been brought over by—
You know what's crazy too with dogs? Like, dogs would be, they're sitting there, they low to the ground, and your dog ever get out and you had to like try and capture them and they thought you playing, and so now they breaking off, and it's like you can't even get a hold of this nigga. My tactic would be, if I got attacked by a dog, would not necessarily be to like, I'm waiting on your attack. You feel me? I can't do nothing. I can't attack first. Like, I kind of got to wait on the dog's attack.
By Spanish conquistadors, and they were admired for their intelligence, toughness, and like a fitted sheet they won't fold. But they were also bred specifically to exterminate wild or stray dogs. And that's something I'm gonna touch on later, because LGDs like Ovchakas, they're not meant to murk predators, just discourage them. They bred the Presa Canario to erase other dogs. That's basically a canine assassin. The hired gun was also a reoccurring character in dogfighting rings, even after it was criminalized. Because of this, the pride of the Canary Islands almost went extinct in the 60s. Luckily, a breed society, Club Español de Presa Canario, was formed, and they came up with a breed standard. The standard was approved in '89, and the Presa Canario was recognized as the official dog of the Canary Islands. The goal was to help the Presa make a comeback, and today they're still going strong. They have a lifespan that can last over a decade, despite all the nerfs that come with being a big dog. Which means we're talking about the dog that has fought its own kind, its own biology, and literal extinction. Not the type I want to start problems with. Now let the record show that the muscle of canary is the equivalent of a canine wet wipe around family, but any burglars getting blacklisted from the census. Once upon a time,
I've heard about these right here.
a zoo in China caught heat for trying to pass off a dog as an African lion. Oh, it didn't last long and they were for sure wrong, but when you squint at a Tibetan Mastiff, you see their inspiration. This woolly mammoth is one of the oldest dog breeds alive, and they were used to protect Buddhist monasteries and Tibetan monks from apex.
Let me see what the dog look like with all that fur. Without all that fur. You know what I'm saying? All that fur, you know, talk a big game. What the dog look like low skin? You know what I'm saying? Low to the grain.
Threats like wolves, bears, and snow leopards. Traditionally, the hound of the Himalayas would sleep all day and patrol the villages at night. So if you take in a Tibetan Mastiff, you may find their habits nocturnal. They're built different. I'm talking genetically sequenced abnormally. Back in the day, Tibetan Mastiffs were bred with Tibetan wolves because the dogs have a special protein that helps red blood cells carry oxygen 50% more efficiently. This mutation does not appear in other dogs, but you do see it in the Tibetan subspecies of gray wolf, which is why the sentient hair salon pile can survive such a high altitude.
I know they be having so much hair shedding everywhere, boy.
It's not hard to see how a full-grown literal Clifford can send wolves running. And that's what I wanted to mention. These are guardian dogs, not attack dogs. They don't want you dead, necessarily, just gone. They're not out here looking for smoke, and if you have one, you'll find that the most dangerous thing about them is the constant slobbering can be a slip hazard. But there's a catch. The Tibetan Mastiff wasn't just insurance, they were a status symbol, especially in China. One named Big Splash sold for $1.5 million, so they can ruin you physically and financially. The problem is, like all fads, the TM hype faded fast, and the outcome was more abandoned Mastiffs than anyone knew what to do with. Except the dogs. The Tibetan persuasion started forming feral packs where they've killed livestock, hunted native Borbull sheep, and even attacked ancient enemies like snow leopards, bears, and now even humans. Now
Shit.
we've got thousands of feral Uber dogs roaming the Tibetan
Shit.
plateau, making life air-conditioned hell for snow leopards and putting paws and jaws in any people that happen to cross their paths. It's basically what happened to pigeons in America, but I've never seen a pigeon
That's
lowbrow a wolf. I don't know what's with all the videos of Tibetan Mastiffs and wolves in the same place, but I have not seen one where the dog doesn't completely bully the, albeit smaller, Asian wolf.
What was they eating?
And speaking of wolves, at least the wild ones are afraid of humans. We genetically engineered a weapon of mass destruction. And it's completely our fault. Mastiffs in general are a canine flex. They'll have you mad stiff, as in rigor mortis.
Damn, why is they really bullying?
The bull mastiff looks like a sweetheart that could genuinely bench press your family. The Neapolitan mastiff was literally built on honey badger principles.
This is a crazy dog right here. This is a crazy build to have. Skin. Just a skin dog.
Loose skin so that even when clamped, they can always turn around and face their problems. But it also makes them look like a victimized pizza pie.
This is a crazy life to live. Right here. These I know these dogs are probably a very difficult dog to have to maintain. You gotta get all between the folds and cleaning. They look so comfy though.
He's sliding right off. But we can't forget the English Mastiff, one of the few dogs that could successfully maul a wolf. For reference, the beast from Sandlot was an English Mastiff, and the record for the heaviest dog is held by Ika Mazorba, an English Stiffy weighing 343 pounds.
Fuck no.
And of course, we can't forget my favorite Mastiff, and honestly dog, the Rottweiler. This Rizzohund is an easy attitude adjustment for any man that thinks he can whoop any dog. But one dog you would absolutely get worked by is... The Borbull is a massive 200-pound vibe check of a pet. They were bred as a South African farm dog to protect the home against threats like leopards and even baboons. Ironically, it's the baboons I'm impressed by. You see, there's a lot of stories about this farmer dog, aura, as the kids say. There's one story of a Borbull life-depriving 4 leopards in a row before losing to a 5th. Another story goes like this. The king of Albania gifted Alexander the Great a massive Borbull, but when Alex tried to get the dog to hunt, the dog seemingly refused, so Mr. Macedon did the sensible thing and murked the dog for insolence. Until the king said the dog wasn't lazy, just bored, and that these dogs were meant to hunt big game. Like elephant big. So apparently they sent a replacement, and this Borbull won Alexander over after breaking a lion's back and forcing an elephant off a cliff. Do I believe it? Absolutely not, but it helps my narrative if I pretend. I do. What is true is the same Borbull that squares up with big cats and baboons also has the personality of a weighted blanket. Unless you threaten their family, in which case they'll put you in an ashtray. They're basically a guard dog that got promoted and invited out to hunts, which is actually the opposite of the Rhodesian.
My dog doesn't do well with intruders. One day I had to break into my own home because my cousin he locked the top lock to our apartment, and if you ever experienced anything, getting the top lock locked on you, you're fucked. And he was asleep, so I had to tear through. I knew there was a window at my old apartment that didn't lock, and so I had to tear the screen, open the screen, lift the thing up, and jump through. Bro, I jumped through, and my dog pissed everywhere and ran away. No barking, nothing. No barks, nothing. Just pissed and ran. I love my dog, man.
Rhodesian Ridgeback might seem like a token pick, but hear me out. They're the inverse of Borbulls. They were so good at hunting, they eventually got promoted to guards. With a max weight of like 120 pounds, the Ridgeback is the lightest dog in this video. They get the nod because they were used to hunt lions, along with the usual suspects like wild pigs and baboons. Now I should probably explain, when I say hunt lions, I don't mean these dogs are out here giving Simba the belt to butt. There isn't a dog alive that can beat a lion. No dog exists that can 1v1 a bear, and pretty much all would get folded by a full-grown all-American Northwestern wolf. By hunting, really the Rhodesian Ridgebacks would bay the lions, not straight up attack them, but harass them, applying constant pressure until eventually the hunters showed up. The best way I can explain it is these wolves mobbing a black bear and basically escorting him away from their pups hidden in the grass. Rhodesians more so keep the lion in one place, which is arguably just as impressive. It takes a lot of intelligence to pin a predator 5 times your size, and yeah, Ridgebacks are creepily smart. Ask around, some will even say they're human. And that's a level of intelligence I'm not trying to deal with. One thing I do love is a dog that went against literal lions is also mad sensitive. They do not respond well to harshness, and you unironically have to watch how you talk to them because they will take it personally. They're basically gifted teenagers. They're not for the discipline, so you better keep it positive. You know, I almost forgot to mention the Dogo Argentino. A mistake that would have been. Basically, a teenager in the 1920s unlocked free will and decided to create the best possible hunter dog. He took traits like the scent tracking of a pointer, the height of a Great Dane, the Pyrenean Mastiff's calm temperament, and the boxer's overall athleticism, and crossbred them with the now extinct Cordoba fighting dog. Eventually, he created an Argentinian Mastiff, and to prove its strength, he pitted his dog against a wild boar and a mountain lion, gladiator style. Only the dog made it out. And I wouldn't even believe that if it wasn't for the story of Morocho, the Dogo Argentino, allegedly killing a puma to save his 2 human girls. Allegedly, because I'm not entirely sure it's true. I still can't see one soloing a healthy mountain lion, but the narrative has been set. So W Morocho. They might not be the biggest, but it's an explosive cannonball of a canine athlete that could
An aggressive dog.
overwhelm a grown man on the right day. They're tough enough to endure hours of trekking through rough terrain and still have enough juice to wrestle an animal 3 times its size. But if I ever saw this in an alley, my soul would auto-connect to the Wi-Fi in the sky. Now that's real Bluetooth. By now, you probably recognize the pattern. If a dog was bred as a livestock guardian in the mountains, it's likely the last dog you ever want issues with. And that
Yeah, I guess Dobermans don't make that list, but that's my partner's dog. He has a Doberman. Chop my damn hand. I was like, damn, this might not be shit. So maybe, yeah, and I need to take some shit back. Bro, I 1v1 with a dog, I just don't think I'm losing that, bro. I don't think I'm losing. Unless it's one of these fucking monstrous mountain dogs that were created to eat human flesh. I guess not. All right. That being said, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like the video, sub up, comment, binge, or channel. I appreciate you for y'all, bro. We gone.